Who's the new guy? Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't really know who he is, I didn't ask him.
It's 8 o'clock.
It is 8. Let's
I didn't
stand and do
even-
the pledge, please. Need a chance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Public discussion.
Yeah, back again. I talked to somebody that works for the state, and maybe I didn't hear what I thought I heard the last couple of times I've been in. But I discussed Class C road with him. Todd Holmes mentioned that he was afraid of liability. And this gentleman said in 309.5 section 5, number 2B.
Can you repeat that a little slower? 309,
309.5 section, or 57.
57, okay,
Section 5, number 2B, it states that the county, its agents, employees have no liability on a Class C road. He said, your lawyer either didn't read it correctly or didn't read it at all, but he said no lawyer can add any ifs or maybes to the law. He said the law is interpreted by a judge if it's challenged, but he said the lawyer has no right to add if there's a problem or maybe a problem. And then I mentioned that, Doug Miller had mentioned that a bridge on it would have to be inspected. He said that is false. No bridge inspections would be required on a Class C portion of any road. And I do not want a Class B portion on any part of that mile. But he thought from the pictures I sent him that the engineer's office had abandoned that portion of the road, part of that road, because of the maintenance that hasn't been done on it in the last 20 years.
actually.
And he said that I should file or send a petition to the Board of Supervisors. He's sending me a copy of what he thinks it should look like, which I probably would have got yesterday, but the mail was not being. So I just wanted to say that 309.57 specifically says you guys are not liable for anything that happens past the gates on a Class C road.
When you say coming from the state,
The guy that works for the state,
as in the DOT or?
he just said
Okay.
the code spells it out specifically. He said, but Todd had no right to say possibly or if or maybe. He said there is no interpretation in the law of, there's no words if or maybe in the law. He said you can't go there. He said only a judge can read the law and modify it. That's all I needed to say for today. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
I pulled it up and.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda in the minutes dated October 3rd?
So moved.
Motion by Stecker, second by Josh. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, unanimous. Monthly update from the secondary road foreman.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
Morning.
You guys.
Everybody busy?
Yep. And then some. We got some moisture last week. Most of the roads going over a couple times, so.
Looks like we're gonna get plenty more later this week too.
Yeah.
It's gonna rain again, that might help.
Yeah, trying to get rid of those
straighten around and then kind of spread out, you know, coming into that season.
Yeah, we are. No big windrows left.
No, at least you don't want it for right now.
So far, we haven't had mud in the road.
Yeah?
Talking to my buddy. Yeah. Starting to get some of that.
They're running pretty hard. And, roads ain't too bad a shape right now. Hopefully they kind of stay that way. They're getting beat down some, but.
Is there any way you guys could experiment with one of those like small rotary rakes? Not a power one, just one small one like they use for yards. Out on the front of that blade to pick up that, like the ragweed and the grass and throw it off of the road before it gets bundled up with all the gravel. Man, when he hits those ragweeds and stuff on that, some of those roads, he ends up with huge piles, which he ends up having to just take over and dump over off the shoulder of the road. But if a guy could experiment with one of those rakes to try to get that stuff away from him before he grabs it with that front corner of the blade. Just an idea, because we're losing a lot of gravel in the ditches from all them ragweeds and grass, because they mow it, and a week later they showed up to blade it, and it's still laying out there on the gravel.
Did you get a chance to look at that tile? Yeah.
Okay.
You guys got any questions for us?
Well, we're good right now.
Yeah, just knock out as we can.
Try and get more things buttoned up before old man winter gets here.
That's kind of a dirty word.
I know it is. We know it's coming.
Frost was here this morning.
Yeah.
There's a little bit out there.
Now it's scraped the windshield.
There's a Minnesota car out in the field on TJ's.
Yeah, I heard about
Did you
that.
see that?
Yeah.
On the end of the dirt road down there where I farm, it went over the top of that rock pile.
And it never left. It just stayed.
That would've been one heck of a ride.
Yeah, I bet that rock pile's 10 foot tall.
Yeah. You get that with some speed.
And the car's on, it didn't go very far afterwards, it's on you. It's a Minnesota car, so evidently they didn't see the end of the road.
And they didn't come back for it either.
No, was it stolen? I never heard.
Don't know.
Probably not much left of the undercarriage.
No, the whole front of the car is gone.
I'm guessing it's probably not worth repairing, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, that's the middle of nowhere according to the, in Iowa.
Yeah.
The furthest you can get from any civilized area is right there. So you guys gotta put up the sign again, they knocked it over.
You knocked her down? Okay.
Yeah. I don't know what you call that sign.
Level View Road, I think is.
No, it's a 911 sign.
Oh, they got that too?
Yeah, you drove right over it.
Oh, well, that'd be Derek
That'd be
for
Derek?
E911.
Yeah.
We'll look it, we'll have a look it up and get.
Well, that Class B sign or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
That evidently is pretty dangerous because they keep shooting it.
That's not the only one they shoot.
Another one, that zero is a good target practice.
Did you see, where was it, Hamilton County, Hardin County? Guy was hunting
Yeah,
with a group of people, hunting
Yeah.
coyotes,
coyotes,
got shot.
yeah,
He's originally from Laverne,
No kidding.
yeah,
Martin Behrens.
yeah.
He was originally from Laverne,
Wow.
fifties, mid-fifties.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So,
Killed it?
Yeah, it did. Middle of the night.
Yeah, like 8
Heat
o'clock,
seeking,
yeah.
With, at night, must have had night scopes.
yeah. He moved and somebody shot.
That's that, wow.
Wow.
That's I interpreted from the Des Moines Register.
Scopes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that in a DNR notice from
That was last night?
No,
Before.
Saturday, I think.
Saturday.
So the coyotes are harder than my chickens, so
They don't
there
get
must be
off.
plenty of them,
They're in the woods, I got their own camera running.
yeah.
So boys, we start hunting them here eventually.
Anything else for the guy? Thank you. Kossuth Regional's not coming
I didn't hear that they weren't, but I didn't see them, so.
in? Yeah, we will go on,
Their packets are on your
right,
Right.
computer,
yes.
so.
We have on our agenda to approve the liquor license for Willie D's Bar and Grill. All the paperwork in order.
Yep.
I would entertain a motion to approve the liquor license.
So moved.
Jack raised his hand.
No,
And then you can say.
I'll second.
Jack and Josh, any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimous. Next thing on our agenda, transfers made by the county auditor. Secondary road in the amount of $101,721.40 from rural basic to secondary roads in the amount of $501.95 were made on October 3rd. Any discussion or any questions? If not, let the record show that we acknowledged it. Discussion to approve the farm lease and authorize to sign.
Josh has not been in yet to sign.
Do
Do we
I,
need him to sign first, or?
I don't think so.
well, one of us has to sign first, so do I have a motion to authorize me to sign the lease?
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Nath, second by Jack. All those in favor,
It's
please,
quiet there.
please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. There's Tammy. You wanna dial up Doug? We're gonna have long breaks today.
Doesn't, Brittany usually have you sign this liquor license? I don't see a space in here. I wonder if she's missing a page.
She is.
Okay.
Want to dial her?
I'll go check.
Alright, you wanna just go check?
Yeah.
Wait, we'll wait for Doug.
Back
103
Lisa.
Lisa?
102.
or 102?
Hey Lisa, it's Kyle. We're ready for Doug for the, secondary road budget next, if he can come back up quick. Okay, sounds good, thanks, bye. Okay, I'm gonna, he said, he's talking with Bill, then he'll be up, so I'll be right back.
Okay,
She says she usually has a line, but she forgot this time.
just sign it down here.
Yeah, yep.
It is nailed.
Yes, thank you.
Fine. Cold up this morning.
Is that what that is? Cold? Not just a lack of heat?
Lack of heat, I would say, is around 50 degrees.
Really?
Yeah.
Good morning again.
Morning. Well, when I was in college, a professor told me once that there's no definition for cold, but there is a definition for lack of heat.
Yeah.
That scientifically, yeah, they don't measure the cold, they measure the amount of heat.
So scientifically, we cannot say cold and expect a definition, but you can say lack of heat. When you're ready, we're up to the Iowa DOT fiscal year 2024 budget.
Yeah, last week, the board approved amending the county budget, so this motion would be to amend the Iowa Department of Transportation secondary road budget to reflect the changes that were completed on that, to make both of them the same. So this would be adding $2.5 million to the construction, making the total budget $3.5 million. There you go, Tammy.
I would entertain a motion to that effect. Motion by Plath, second by Nath. Any discussion? Seeing none, do a roll call vote, please.
Plath, Nath,
Yes.
Wactor,
Yes.
Stecker,
Yes.
Jerks.
Yes,
Alright.
carried unanimous.
Now we got.
I dated that one there, Tammy, you can keep that one, but if,
Okay.
got caught up in
Oh, we gotta wait till 9.
too many
Yeah, we
things.
gotta wait till 9 for the rest.
If you'll sign that, I'll get that all dated.
Or no?
Can't
I
do
did
anything
not.
after that.
Oh.
But you can keep that one there, and I'll get the other one filled out.
Oh, we could skip and do the drainage.
No,
No, we
gotta
can't.
cause it's after the 9
It's
o'clock.
after the time that's listed.
Oh, excuse me.
If there was no time, we could.
Gotcha.
We're in no hurry, we gotta wait till 9 o'clock to do anything.
Here, fill that.
Oh,
That's yours.
Okay.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you.
Alright. The bridge, project to the south of Titanca, they did pour that deck last Tuesday, so they will be stripping that and getting things, the approach is filled, barrier rail and guardrail, constructed there.
Do you have any estimated timeline on that?
Well,
For what's
it'll
left?
take, yeah, if they get good weather, the remaining of this week and part of next week to strip, then one day to pour barrier rail, then they need to get, everything cleaned up. I haven't had a chance to talk to Adam, but we're looking at, 2 weeks would be the earliest, probably more around the lines of 3 weeks,
End of October, probably.
so, yeah. Transfer station, we did hire a new person there, Scott Shillington, he lives in Bancroft, but he will be, operator at the transfer station beginning Monday. Lead yard in Lakota, I got 2 positions open at Lakota. We had another resignation there, so we will be getting those filled. One of the positions at Lakota, hopefully, we'll do some interviewing, get that one completed. We'll see how it goes. We got, see how those go. That is everything I got for the road department right now. Just a reminder that those signs are ordered from the direction. So, please.
We should be waiting for 9 for discussion, I guess. I didn't realize we were going into that, but with the
Got
agenda.
that. Oh, approval of construction of the road right away, but we're just discussing yet.
There were no requests for construction.
No
right?
request.
Yeah, but do you have anything else, I guess, or is that it?
Solar power, I've been contacted by a commercial solar power group, and, kinda wanted to, they wanted to know how that would be approved. We could certainly, the Board of Adjustment could listen, grant a conditional permit, conditional use, a special use permit, or we could have the, Planning and Zoning Commission get together and put together some sort of an ordinance. I guess, speaking with the Board of Supervisors, I guess my question to you would be, how do you feel about that, or what direction would you like things to go? With the wind, the board took and made their own ordinance. The Board of Supervisors are people that approve of everything, they approved of the ordinance. There was a little bit of the Planning and Zoning Commission did what they were required to do, however, the Board of Supervisors were the major, they are the major decision makers and were the major decision makers in the writing of that. So, if you feel solar is the same way, we probably need to get work going on that. Or we could get the Planning and Zoning Commission together and start visiting about that.
Is this a major solar?
2.5 megawatts.
That is
we're
major.
talking, so it's,
Yeah.
10 to 15 acres.
Yeah, we haven't, no, it'd be more than that. It'd be full, no, it'd be, yeah, doing fuzzy math, you're at 100 acres almost if you're gonna miss the tile lines and everything else.
I think we do need to have an ordinance probably similar to wind. And I think we should be steering that primarily. Tile would be a big concern for that, protecting drainage district interests,
Well,
but
we do
yeah,
have, I mean, no matter what, the procedure for drainage district,
We've already done that.
yeah, that's completed, so this,
it should be tied
this
in
would
with
not
that.
have anything to do with drainage. This would be the solar setbacks, that kind of thing.
Well, for your and the board's information, this is something I've been thinking about this year anyway, and I've been putting some stuff together as far as, I guess my vision is having just a renewable energy ordinance if possible for wind, solar and battery. Just because I know we're gonna be dealing with it in the future, whether, good, bad or otherwise. It's something that we're gonna have to address at some point, so, no, I'm all in favor of moving forward to look into some type of an ordinance like we have with wind. And whether we can tie renewable energy in general together or they need to be all separate, I don't know, but, yeah, no, that would be the direction I'd like to go.
Would you, I would advise that an attorney
Right,
be,
well, I'm not presenting the ordinance or something, I mean, as far as, I'm not qualified to write an ordinance.
no,
Yeah.
but in order to make it
You're gonna.
valid, you
Yeah.
gotta have, you gotta go through all the right steps.
Correct.
And you've got to create it.
Yep.
So I guess, would the board like to recommend an attorney, or would you like me to find an attorney? How would you like to handle that?
Well, maybe that's something we wanna look into in the coming week or two and
Yeah,
get a game
let's,
plan.
I think if we're gonna
together
make
for
a
that,
decision on anything like that, we'll have to have it on.
yeah, let's
Agenda.
put it on the agenda for 2 weeks, give everyone a little time to think on it and do any research they want and come back.
Do
At
you
that
want, do you
point.
want Doug to look?
I mean, and if you have any recommendations.
Recommendation for an attorney to bring a recommendation to us? Sure. Would be one of the first steps.
Yeah,
Somebody that's
That'd be-
familiar with
Right.
solar power so that
Yep.
we don't reinvent the wheel and have to spend money that we don't have to spend is
Yep.
my object.
and there are other counties, I know in Iowa that have done some different things, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Your setbacks will be totally different than what wind is. So I don't know if you can tie the ordinance together. I think you're gonna have to have a separate ordinance for solar.
At this point, it's
Depends, you
solar,
could-
it's like with wind, of course, the county had a right to pass an ordinance and set whatever regulations that the county wanted to do. Is that the same with solar as far as, I mean, with any state or federal regulations involved there too?
There's
This would be a land use.
just like.
Yeah, I'm
and
not aware of it,
Yeah.
I don't think there's any preemption like the
Well,
pipeline
yeah, I mean-
arguments, that if you're comparing it that way, I don't think that's an issue.
Yep.
Okay, and then with the, Kossuth Waste Management Association, we have a yard dog shag truck up there. And that was an old dump truck from the road department that we converted into a semi-tractor. And it is starting to require more maintenance. That is a difficult operation, especially on electrical stuff up in that area. I'd like to start looking for just a used semi-day cab. If I were to bring that to the Board of Supervisors to approve of that purchase. I guess I'm curious what your feelings are,
It'd come out of the budget, out of the
waste management.
waste management budget. The only thing I'd caution is don't buy a regenerator. So if that's the age group you're looking at.
Yeah, well, we'd have to see what's available, if it's
But-
used.
It wouldn't work there because you don't run enough miles or hot enough
Don't get
to
it hot enough.
regenerate, so it'd be useless.
Yeah, you need one pre-def.
Yeah,
So we'd have to see what's available. So, and
there's not a lot of pre-def ones out there,
Oh yeah, there are.
is there?
You can find them.
well, I guess my question is, would the board approve of it? Cause it's gonna be difficult to go out and if I see something, try to make a commitment without
Yeah.
any support from the board.
Do you have any specific dollars in the budget for that right now?
I do not.
So you need to amend for that, or?
That budget is not
That's through the Waste Management Association.
this is Waste Management Association, so it's not as, what's the term I'm looking for, Tammy, as far as that budget, like our self-insurance? Yeah, we have a budget, but we're not-
Non-budgetary.
it's not held to expenditures like the road department or,
You'd want one that's pre-regenerated and def, both,
Yeah,
because it's gonna idle and do nothing.
it'd be worthless with the emissions out there.
Yeah,
well, I guess I just need some guidance.
anybody have any objections? We don't.
If you get something that's cost effective and pre-emissions,
We will take that into consideration.
We're gonna do the old one, junk it.
I can certainly try and trade it in, I don't know
Yeah.
how much it's worth. Right now, to start the machine, you actually jump the terminals on the starter and not use the key. In order to just get the key working, you gotta take the dash all apart. It's hard to even justify the amount of labor and everything that needs to go on that, so
Just put a starter button on
anyway.
yeah.
I have no idea, I haven't even looked to see what costs are. But if something would come up and I talk with our shop foreman, Nick Holt, if something comes around and it looks like it would be good for that, it's just,
Is there any of our trucks that would be phasing out that would be decent? Since we got
Well-
so many new ones now.
we may, but with our situation at the mechanic shop, it's good to have spares right now. We don't have labor to repair things, but we can, if we have spare, at least things keep running. We do have one semi-tractor that's an early, tier 2. We've had a lot of problems with that tier 2.
That's a regenerator,
Yeah,
they're a piece of,
but tier 2, they've done a lot of things to tier 4, from tier 2 to tier 4. So.
well, tier 4 is better than tier 2 is.
Definitely, yeah. So,
Are you planning on keeping all of them for spares
At
then?
this time, yes,
Okay,
I'm not ready to get rid of anything.
You wanna get an estimation on price, DPA auction semis about every week.
Yeah, I can look at a few things.
Look, they give you some guidance on price.
Mhm. Well, I'll keep discussing it. We'll go from there. All right, well, we have a letting at 9.
Yep.
So,
So we're gonna take a break until 9 o'clock. Thanks, Doug.
you bet, thank you.
Give me a few minutes to clean my desk, I haven't done that for a couple weeks. Cleaning? Sounds strange.
Cleaning desk.
Clean the windows in the house, must, right, it's called fall. Yeah. Late spring clean, late spring. How was your week?
Not too bad. For the most part, pretty uneventful. It's not all bad. Been working on getting the house ready for a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Takes a lot of work,
Yeah.
I'm sure.
at.
coming from downstairs, upstairs,
Who knows?
2 buildings away. It's pretty loud.
Doing well. Oh yeah, you bet. Yep. Yep. Well, depending on the weather, I could find a time. I don't know, how soon do you need it done? Do you have an event coming up or? Sure. Well, I'll tell you, my next day on my schedule for Algona would be, looks like a 1 o'clock on Wednesday, November 29th. But if I can get there sooner than that, I will. And just kinda depends on, of course, I help with harvest, so. Yep. Yep, and I already scheduled people those days, so. Okay, I'll put you down for the 29th, and if I can get there sooner, I will. Yep, thanks, Andy. Bye.
Making progress?
Making progress.
We've got some big agendas.
Yep.
Figure I'm just gonna save the ones I have notes on.
You can do whatever you'd like on that, or you can have file cabinets after file cabinets.
Morning again.
Yes.
Figured I'd take advantage of the break to clean out all the papers.
I see.
There's a little red car. Scared me.
Perfect timing.
A little red car parked right out there with this dog, his whole head and half his body sticking out the window.
All right.
He's excited.
You gotta quit doing that, Tammy.
That scared me.
Did you get it all cleaned up?
Pretty close, pretty close.
Here is documents to, on that 8.5 by 11, front and back for the recording the letting, and then there's a location map there, so.
So are these bridges that were timber yet?
Yeah, those are
Okay.
all timbered.
Those are the ones that Bex didn't wanna replace 10 years ago?
One of them was, yes. Are we,
This is Gunther's and our workers. Yeah.
I did get an email from Colette at the hospital. She wasn't able to make it today,
Okay, that's good.
but she will be here.
Before we get started, they're gonna pump that manure out of that pit south of town
Oh, good.
and spread it on the field, so if you get a call, you're aware of it.
Okay.
And he thought maybe this week, but with the rain, it'll probably be next week.
Next week, yeah.
Yeah, there's a J&M pumping,
Okay.
pump it out. So in case you get a call about it, you know about it ahead of time.
Yep.
Might raise a little stink down there again.
Yeah, it'll raise some stink, but at least we'll be rid of it, the headache.
Yeah,
It ain't worse than what I smelled the last week.
No,
Like, actually, where was we at? We came out of
yeah,
Where are they spreading that at?
right there.
Right there on that farm.
On that, it's gonna go into corn, I'm
Okay.
assuming.
Okay,
I think Rothler wants to use the buildings again and he hasn't been able to use them
That's kind of what I gathered from him, yeah.
Yeah, so,
Okay, well, thanks for letting me know.
and we're,
What are they doing?
I'm
putting
not
in,
sure, they're downstairs though.
Some of the door work.
Oh.
I thought I saw that person.
is Mr. Becker coming back?
I believe so.
Want me to go find him?
Well, he'll be here in a minute, I'm sure.
Okay, no, that's fine. $26.04, yes.
Does anybody know where they went?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, why don't you call him quick?
Hey, you, on your way back? Okay. Okay. He's on his way up.
Morning, Doug. And Adam?
Good morning, Bert.
You got two dogs. Got one of them hiding behind the pole. We are up to secondary road letting. We have two, is that correct, Doug?
2 bridges, yes, that we are letting this morning.
Do you want to do one at a time, I'm assuming?
Yes. We're planning on opening bids for the LB 572604 73-55 project, and then we will open the bids for the LB 573480 55. I gave the board a sheet to keep tabs with. What we plan to do this morning is we will open the bids. We'll take them down to our office, make sure that the bids are in order, and then we will come back after we have checked everything with awarding.
Good.
So.
Yeah.
We have received 2 bids for both projects. One of the bids is from Graves Construction out of Spencer, and the other bid is from Merriman Bridge Construction out of Alcohol. So we'll go ahead and open these. Graves first. And this is for 572604. Graves does have a bid bond signed appropriately. And I'm just planning to read the total project price. So their price bid on this is $668,282.95. 668,282.95. Merriman Bridge Construction, they also have a DOT bid bond. Everything's signed and acknowledged appropriately. And their bid price is $511,040.84. 511040.84. So for that project, Merriman would be the low bid. Our engineer's estimate for that project was $529,738.60, 529,738.60. And now for 573,480. Graves Construction, Spencer. They do have a bid bond signed. Their price bid for this project, $629,882.00, 629,882.00. For Merriman Bridge Construction. Again, they have a Iowa DOT, they got a bond, surety, everything is in order. And their price bid for this project is $454,608.68, 454,608.68. So again, it looks like Merriman Bridge is the low on that project as well. The county engineer's estimate was $464,897.80 for that project. So we will go back down to the office. Adam and Doug will verify all the extensions on that, and we will bring that back up to the board for further action.
Okay, thank you guys.
Alright, are you guys gonna be talking about drainage at a certain time? I guess I was just kinda curious.
We're gonna do it.
Sit in on the decision.
The considering bids is at 10, yeah.
Is that at 10? Okay, I'll come back up at 10 and once I get everything taken care of.
Okay, thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
I think we got everything done with the county engineer except for the bids and drainage on DD 60/4, so we will go to drainage repairs.
March come in.
Yes. You know who's doing the work upstairs?
It's downstairs.
Is it downstairs? Where are they doing it?
I'm not sure. I just know when I was standing
Making
down there
noise.
getting, yeah, they're making noise. They're
Making
doing
noise?
some sort of drilling, I'm not sure what they're doing.
Thank you.
Maybe Tammy knows what they're doing downstairs.
I think, somebody said doors, so I think probably getting ready for the key, the door fobs for the,
Oh, for the doors?
Is that Willie and Ron or someone else?
No,
Like
somebody else.
contractor?
Someone else down there, yeah.
Hey, Marge. Somebody's coat is on her chair.
We were doing the pledge and I
Oh,
didn't have time to hang up.
You made a hanker? Good job.
I can multitask.
Thank you.
Haven't lost that ability yet.
No, we have one repair request, is that correct, Marge?
Yes.
yeah, I got it here.
You got it?
Yep. Number 83, Hebron, section 34, broken tile, washout, sunken in hole, so.
I move the supervisors take care of the request.
I'll second.
That was Josh. or
Jack and then
Jack and
Jack.
Josh.
And then me.
any discussion on the repair request or the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried unanimous. Anything else, Marge, for drainage?
We'll have the bids of 10.
Well, while Marge is here, talk about the bridge over by Whittemore for Mark Lattensaw. In PAK one there, you know his golf cart bridge there,
Yep.
just north of McGregor. Colin, as well as, I think it's Jason from Merriman's, went out and looked at his bridge, just to see, 'cause there was some further damage done to that bridge, in the event this spring. And now, of course, legally, it's not the drainage district's responsibility to fix this bridge. And there was some issues prior, to the event, but the event made it much worse. So, in talking with Colin and figuring out what do we wanna do, cause it's still needs to be fixed as far as the banks under the bridge and around the bridge, and as far as putting riprap there or doing something to stabilize that, where we're not gonna fix that bridge perfectly, and it's not our responsibility to, but it is our responsibility to fix the ditch. And so, in doing that, we could do both, or kind of kill two birds with one stone, and stabilizing it for our part, whereas Mark would be responsible for any further work that he'd wanna do. So the question is, do we want to do that, for one, and
Are you talking putting a pipe in
no, for riprap under
or
the,
fixing the?
it all washed into the river there. I mean, as far as the foundation under the bridge, it's getting pushed into the river, so.
Yeah. Into the creek.
Right, and
The
so.
ditch, yeah.
For the ditch, sorry. And, so we can go ahead and separate that out and do that this fall while the water's low and it's easy to access, as opposed to next spring when it's not gonna be easy to access, most likely. And should we have another event, then, the bridge might not be there. So that's kind of what Colin needs some direction as far as, and where we wanna go as a board. Do we wanna take care of that, and separate that out from the rest of the project, cause we're not gonna get the project done this fall, of course. But, just to take care of that now, as opposed to next year, or do we wanna wait till next year and do that with everything else?
Is that the only place he thinks needs emergency repairs, so to speak, or?
At this point, yes. There was a couple of things that have already been taken care of, that were more emergency along the ditch. That where it had washed close to, telephone poles or power lines or whatever, so, but.
There's two issues with that bridge. One is it was never permission granted for them to build the bridge across.
Well, that's years and years ago, but yeah.
Yeah, so is it our responsibility to,
It's not our responsibility to
Right.
fix the bridge.
even to, is it our?
Well,
The only-
I think the point is, do we wanna stabilize the banks under the
Right.
bridge now and separate that out because of the bridge? Because it is still, if the bridge falls in, then it's still our responsibility to do something there again. It's, as far as, then we're dealing with it.
Right.
So is that something we wanna do sooner than later?
Marge, you remember what time frame we would have had those agreements with Lattisaw and Tool?
That was Todd Holmes did that.
Yeah, cause that'd be something we should
And Brian
make sure
Tool
we're
did
not
fix
overstepping
his,
those.
his washout and into his field there as well at his place, so we'll be looking for, I don't know if they'll be looking for, you know, something back from the project or what, but, he already went ahead and did it without
Okay,
us doing the project.
why don't you have Marge make out a request if you think it's deemed responsible for us to fix that this year?
Yeah.
Go make a request and then we'll approve it next week. That would probably be the correct way of doing it.
I just think it'd be good to, I think it would be good to at least just stabilize the banks in that area, that way we prevent any further issues going on there.
But-
Then it's taken care of, if he wants to improve his bridge, that's
It's up to him.
That's up to him.
Yep.
But, yeah, do our part and let him do whatever else he wants to do.
Fill out a request and we'll
Yeah, okay,
discuss it
And
next
then we
week.
can talk about it next week
Yeah.
Okay.
in more detail.
sounds good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other discussion for drainage? Mark? Seeing none. Our time with the auditor.
Thanks, Marge. Let's see, next week. We have approve and sign letter of intent from Capco 2. I don't know how to say that.
Cap CO2.
Okay, Cap COT. And that's all we have on for next week so far. And then that is all I have. Next week, next Wednesday, absentee voting starts the 18th. So we're gearing up, getting ready for state school election November 7th, so. That is all I have.
For agenda stuff, I guess I talked to Todd while we had the break there about the discussion we had at the beginning of the meeting during public discussion, so I guess you guys wanna have that on the agenda to talk about next week or?
Oh, with the code section for,
Yeah, for a level C road.
that's fine.
Okay, we could add that and, then, you know.
Jack, do you have any committee meeting?
No, got some coming up with, last week.
Kurt?
I had no meetings, did anybody, zoom into the soil compaction study on Friday? Yeah, I wasn't able to either, I just was curious.
I was hoping to, but I didn't get on there.
Yeah. As far as, I have visited quite a bit the past week with, in regards to the pipeline with Tim Whipple and with some others as far as what we wanna do for moving forward or not, or, you know, how we wanna handle that. I do know landowners would like to come back in and request us to pass an ordinance, in the next couple of weeks. However, when I'm talking with some others and things, our current comprehensive plan with our zoning that we have, whether we pass an ordinance or not, because I think that's a concern. Okay, if Shelby County would win their case, if they appealed, then the only counties that have regulations in place are gonna be the ones that can enforce it, if they win their case. But until they win or lose their case, we can't enforce an ordinance that we pass. And that's every county's in that boat. And there's 6 other counties currently that are in that process, in the state of Iowa. But if they win their case, our comprehensive plan already requires, a pipeline company or any other industry to get a permit in an zoned ag area. So they will have to come back to, and get permits, and that's what's going on in South Dakota, and where pipeline companies aren't suing counties out there. And I'm gonna forward all of you a video from the Brown County Supervisors meeting last week. And the pipeline companies, now that they've been denied their state permits, are now crawling back to the county and saying, oh, we're sorry, we dealt with you this way and we'd like to work with you, and because now they have to get permits from the county, from the local boards and board of adjustment, whatever they have. But their state law is so much clearer on what counties can and cannot do.
Right.
Whereas Iowa's is not, so
That's a big difference.
I spent about half my day yesterday on the phone as I was about going around doing things with legislators on talking through this, and it was things that they were not really thinking about. And so I know Dave Rowley, of course, because he's our senator, is going to be looking into what they have in place in their law. I said, if you wanna pass the buck back to us, that's fine, just let us
Give us the tools.
be able to do something.
Give us the key.
Right.
That's the difference between
Because
the
I think the
states
concern
right now.
is, in the legislature right now, especially in the Senate, is that they're protecting the, well, and one of the things that they were saying is there are people, leadership in the Senate that are protecting the reputation of the governor, because she would, whether she would veto something or not, I don't know, but that's part of our law process, and it needs to get to that point. But that's a concern. So if they could approach it in a way of just allowing counties to regulate our own county in citing routing.
The Republicans always talk about being in favor of local control. This would be a great time for them.
And that's what I told them all. I said, we're all about small government here. So let's maybe do something about that. But, so I thought they were productive conversations. But I guess in talking with Whipple and talking with others, it's a little bit different since the PHMSA letter coming out, in that as far as federal preemption, that's an easy case to win, I think, in court. And that PHMSA has repeatedly stated that, no, you guys keep telling us we can set siting and routing, and we can't do that. But the state's a little bit of a harder hurdle, and that's what we're arguing.
Yeah.
And we can pass an ordinance, and we can join with the others. We're not really bringing new legal arguments to the table, because other counties are doing the exact same things that we would be doing in passing an ordinance. So it's just a matter, do we want to do that, and just, I asked the legislator, I said, if our county and all these other counties passing ordinances, even though there's already lawsuits underway, does that impact you guys? Does that send a message to you as well? And they all said yes. And some of them said, well, it doesn't hurt. Some of them said, well, yeah, go ahead, pass it. But they're not on our board either.
And they're not paying the
They're
bill
not paying the bill,
for the legal
but
fees.
ICAP would cover if we went down that route.
Well, there you go.
But I guess the bigger question is, with our current zoning ordinance, zoning plan, comprehensive plan, they are already required to get a permit, with or with, even if we do nothing.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So can we deny a permit is where I'm at.
And that's where Butler County is the last one to pass an ordinance. Navigator decided not to sue them, and they just said, well, we're just gonna ignore getting the permits. It's kinda like a big bully, and until they are in check in some court case, they're just gonna say, oh, we're gonna do what we want.
Yeah.
So they didn't even bother suing them, they just said, we're not gonna follow it anyway.
I guess where I'm at,
So,
what good does it do to pass an ordinance if they're not gonna apply to the county for a permit? And if we say, no, you can't build it in the county,
Then
the ordinance isn't gonna be any different than asking for a permit as of now, is it?
But I think that's when we would go back to our inspector and have them stop construction. Because the inspector has authority over that, So there's a couple pieces of the puzzle there,
Right.
but I think it would mean, and I know some of the conversations around this, but at the same time, I would feel a lot more comfortable if the state acted to give us that authority specifically like North Dakota and South Dakota have.
Right,
If it takes the questions away, then that's something a little easier for us to address.
Yep,
Until then, it's a
and
flip of the coin.
we were graciously given time.
Yep.
but
The legislature was also graciously given
Yes.
time.
And, we have another session that they'll be able to go through a full session without worrying about construction starting. Thank you, South Dakota.
did Whipple even give you any idea about what he thought the state would do anything or not?
I really didn't ask him specifically in regards to how the state would handle things.
Well, and
I don't know that that's really his,
yeah, I had talked to
know,
him as
but-
well, and I don't think that's a opinion he's gonna give us, especially not a legal opinion.
yeah,
I mean, he could maybe give 2 cents of a personal opinion, but
right,
at the end of the day, I mean, a lot of things he said to me were similar with what Carter shared, but I think the opportunity for more time is a big piece of the puzzle that this could be addressed again. It's not that construction starting
right.
while they're in session here, so I think it's well worth our time for us and every interested landowner in our county and every other county across the state to be dealing with their legislators and make their opinions known, because
Yep.
I would say it's hard to argue that the state legislature has more authority than we do. They create the laws that we have to follow.
Yep.
So if they want us to deal with this, that's in their wheelhouse to give us that authority.
Right. I talked to a couple landowners for what I had time for yesterday as well, just to share thoughts and get their thoughts on things too, and they were pretty much in agreement as far as, people I've talked to so far and understanding and just realizing that our current planning and zoning ordinance, they have to get permits. And if the pipeline company's not gonna follow them, well, that's a different issue. And that's where a court case has to be won over that at some point. So,
Hey,
I'm
I
all,
don't have that question. This is interstate commerce between states, so.
right,
And that's where the other states delegated that authority down
Right,
because they had the authority to begin with.
right,
yeah, so it makes it fuzzier on what we can do and can't do.
our laws aren't that clear.
Right,
Yep.
that's,
But that's at the state level.
And I think as we look ahead at the session, if there's an opportunity for us as a board to go down to the Capitol and visit when there's issues, we need to take that.
Yep.
yeah, I have visited with some of them and they don't give me a clear answer.
We're
What
turning
they're
to good
gonna do.
lawyers down there.
Yep,
But anyway, I just wanted to bring that up and get you guys'
Yeah.
thoughts on.
yeah, I'm to that point where I don't know if we need an ordinance, cause we can just say, no, we're not gonna allow you to come in. What's the difference between that and an ordinance?
Setbacks.
Just setback.
And
Then
there's,
if you make
specific
an
number.
ordinance, you're saying, yeah, you can come in as long as you comply with the ordinance. So is the ordinance a detriment or an asset?
there's several pieces to the puzzle there, and I'd be cautious to say too many details, but there's a lot of pieces in the puzzle which are currently being litigated.
Right.
Right.
But I guess, I think it'd be more responsible to our taxpayers to do what we can advocating at the state level and getting the laws clarified at the state level so that either we have authority or they have authority, and then once they make the decision on who's going to handle it, goes from there. But if they want us to handle it, then they need to give us that authority specifically. If they wanna keep it, then they can do the status quo, but they're responsible, so. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. Quagmire. Anything else, Kirk?
No, that's.
Josh?
I didn't really have any meetings, but I did have some brief discussions with, Maureen over at the economic development on the cap CO2 companies, similar companies and stuff. They can't really give us any statistics on economic, potential for Kossuth County, because there are no projects in Iowa. She reached out to the Iowa Economic Development and they really couldn't give her any stats or anything like that because it's, so new that they really don't have any info on potential, economic impact that it could have for Kossuth County. So basically right now, we're just kind of in the point of just sharing information back and forth to, as to what she's received, what we've received, and just kind of going from there.
Kyle?
no committee meetings here this week, a lot of other conversations with pipeline drainage and stuff, but no committees.
I didn't have any last week, I got an ICOG meeting tomorrow. And other than that, not much.
Well, I guess I had wellness last Wednesday too.
Yeah, wellness. Anything else come before the good of Kossuth County in discussion? If not, we will be adjourned until 10 o'clock. Nine
33. We'll see if Doug comes back with his road project.
Sounded like he was gonna wait until 10 o'clock and bring that up.
I think he'll probably be done by 10.
Would hope so.
Maybe not.
Did you see that my computer decided to go to sleep right before I got back up here? Oh, I must have, cause it was off, and then it didn't wanna reconnect to internet for a while.
Mine is struggling to connect to the KCCH.
Yeah, I had issues with that before you got here too, I was giving Derek a hard time, this wasn't connecting.
Yeah, so I ended up having to connect to the public and do the VPN connection.
Well, I had it on public for the first hour of the meeting, and then even when I came back, Teams wasn't getting internet, so I
Yeah.
put it on my phone hotspot.
Oh,
But it's like it's lost in space, it shows that I'm connected to KCCH basically on the internet side of things, but it's connected to my phone. I have no idea what's going on there. Done until 10, basically, if you want to mess with my internet, see if you can figure that out or not. That's fine, yep. Yep, that works.
do you want me to let you know, I'm talking with, Maureen. Trying to set up some time to meet with her. Do you want me to let you know since you're
Wouldn't
on
hurt,
board too?
if I'm able to, I can join,
Yeah. Cause I'm off work the rest of this week because tomorrow, late morning into the afternoon, I'm getting my carpal tunnel done.
Okay,
So I can't really go back to work, cause typing.
yeah, that might be a little
Yeah.
issue.
So it might be this week depending on her availability.
If she'd be able to today yet this morning, that'd be great, but
Probably not, she's got something coming up ahead, cause I was gonna meet with her at 1 o'clock today, but she had something change on her schedule that she was gonna be out by noon, so that might be,
can she meet before noon?
I could call her here at our Ducky's restaurant.
Actually, yeah, I'm gonna make a couple calls while we got some time here too, but,
I just don't know how much we're gonna do without, having statistics or anything, I'm just more concerned with, if we can make connections with local, industries and things like that to kind of help, start some conversations. That stuff,
make sure you're doing it the right way, cause you can
Well-
really screw some things up if you don't
Well-
do it right.
Yeah, everything, and then the problem is it's costs so much.
Yeah, well, I hate to, I mean, we already spent 25,000 a year in office.
Yep.
You know, Intune would be,
Yeah.
try and be as frugal as we can.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks pretty legit.
Yeah, well, and I think with Intune, I think the biggest thing is it's great for large operations because of the ability to deploy things so quickly and, you know, have it the same across the board versus like, you know, you've got this office set up this way, this office set up this way, you know. It's a great tool to have for that, but no, that's,
Hold on one second.
I don't
Yeah,
know,
it
it's
looks-
really anything that, you know, our office would even need, but
It would be fantastic. Some counties are doing it, but it's a lot of
yeah,
work.
yeah.
Anyway, hey, I got the key.
There you go. Look at there, and she was doing her renewal here.
Right there? Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, I come here all the time. I rounded up everybody but Jack, I don't know where he's at.
Jack was just outside there. I don't know if he went in the coffee room or.
He told me to come, they were gonna be ready, but nobody's here.
Kyle's on the phone up there, I'll yell at him.
Okay.
Jack's in the break room, so I got everybody rounded up.
I'll look drop.
Jack's in the break room, he's coming right away. I lose all the supervisors. I don't know. Now I lost Carter, I can't, and the auditor.
Huh?
Huh, lost the auditor, that's terrible.
I'm here. I don't know where Thunder is.
Well, I told him, I found him a little bit ago.
Yeah, give me this out there in the hallway.
Was that your dad? Oh, that's cool.
Neat.
46.
Don't give matches out anymore, is it?
That was a good year.
Really?
Yeah.
1946. Must have been a cold winter.
I'm looking at, you see this Fish's combine went down to the ground.
Who's?
Fishes. You know, like rich fish.
Oh. In soybeans.
We only had 60 acres left of soybeans went burnt.
Ouch.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, she just really cooked, didn't
yeah,
she?
that was a hot one.
Yeah. Whew. It's amazing it didn't burn more.
Who was that?
Rich Devon fish down Lake Corwin.
This year?
Yeah, just yesterday.
That's toast.
Yeah,
Don't believe you're gonna bring that one back to life.
no, it's gone for good.
Open up your settings.
I know where he's at, I'll tell her.
Yeah, when it's plugged
Where's
in, it's
Doug?
not supposed to go off for too
I
long.
don't know. I keep losing people today.
What's up, guys?
How we doing,
Roger? Good, how you?
Good to
see you.
I don't know what the deal is.
How's she going, guys?
Not too
Yeah.
bad, how are you,
Hello,
Ted?
hi.
You brought some company along here today.
Oh, yeah. Got the firepower.
Now we just lost Doug again.
I was gonna say,
This is worse than trying to round up chickens.
herding cats.
Yeah.
At least you got falling into honeysuckle here.
Them damn ducks.
Hi, Mike.
How we doing, Doug?
Doing well, how are
I said
you?
you could just as well let the coyotes eat them, but no. That'll lock them up. Doug, we are ready. You got everything done?
Yes. Everything checked out. So, I will pass out tabs
Thank you,
and a resolution.
thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
While you're at arm's reach. Here's the resolution.
This is the down payment bill for the door control systems. 50%.
We don't.
So, okay, alright, so I will let them know that.
Tab there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, everything checked out on the bids. Merriman was low, so this resolution would be to approve of the project, accept the bid from Merriman Bridge Construction in the amount of $511,040.84. And then also it allows that once we receive the bond, contract performance bond and the certificate of insurance, that Roger would be able to sign that as chairperson of the board of supervisors. And I'd recommend that the board would award this contract.
We have a resolution number for this contract, and the number would be 10-10-2301.
So moved.
I have a motion by Plath,
I'll second.
second by Jock. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, do a roll call vote, please.
Plath,
Yes.
Nath,
Yes.
Wactor,
Yes.
Stecker,
Yes.
Jerks.
Yes, motion carried unanimous.
And then this would be the, same information. There's that. You bet.
You need one or two signed copies?
I'll bring them up for you.
Okay,
Tammy will get this email to you as well for
okay.
that.
This is the next one. That's your document.
Here we go. I'll give you tabs already.
Yep, you did.
Yep. Again, everything checked out with their proposal. This would be for the price of $454,608.68. And again, this would, once contract documents are received by the engineer's office, allow Rogers to sign and execute the contract. And again, I'd recommend that the board would award this project to Merriman Bridge Construction.
I thought we did that, okay.
This is the second project.
This is second.
Second
I'll
project.
second it.
I have a motion and a second by Mr. Stecker. Any discussion?
You wanna give the resolution number on it?
It would be 10-10-2302. Doug, you get that down?
I did get that, thank you.
Seeing no discussion, I would do a roll call vote, please.
Plath,
Yes.
Nath,
Yes.
Wactor,
Yes.
Stecker,
Yes.
Jerks.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, so that one is one, it's the other one.
Both of those signed, please.
You're straight, I'm straight.
And we'll just keep those that you
Yep.
had previous. Thank you, Tammy.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so that concludes all of that. Thank you very much.
Yep, thanks, Doug.
Doug,
Yes.
just for your info, when we had board discussion, we talked about putting it on the agenda to talk about a level C road for Dick Miller when he was in this morning. If you'd like this sheet with the code section.
I have it.
You do.
Yeah, I have the whole chapter, I guess. If you want to have the whole chapter, I can get it.
I just pulled this offline, so
So,
just wanted to,
yeah, no, I have that information. You say it is gonna be on the agenda?
yep, next week.
Okay, all right, very good.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Tyler, is there anything you need to set up or? anything?
I wasn't planning on.
Okay.
Having anything.
Well, you can come up to the hot seat and join the party.
Morning all.
Morning.
Hi.
Any big projects coming up after this one?
some things in the works, but this one kinda took this one was where a lot of the effort was, so. This job has been dry.
It has been.
3 years.
Yeah.
It's so dry.
The drainage issue really dissipated.
Yeah.
I'll go back around.
Yeah, go ahead, thank you.
Here when I start.
All at one time.
Yeah, that's like
Just think of you said, because you get all the July's rain in one go, and then it's like, see you in August. And then August comes, and it's like, never mind. So it's just, it's wild, these weather patterns.
Well, that's part of the course of the larger drainage filtrations too, is we don't get it in 1 inch or 2 inch rains anymore,
Right.
so 5 or 6 or nothing.
Yeah, sure, yeah, when you're looking to move it, you better be looking to move it, like.
Right, now.
Cause it doesn't rain, like, I mean, it doesn't like drizzle on you for a week, but it's just.
Although, the end of this week, it sounds like.
Well,
it's
yeah,
so
we're
nice.
right.
Yeah, and we need it, I mean, it's, we're plowing tile and it's like trying to pull through concrete.
Get some moisture in the ground before stuff freezes up.
No,
So
yeah.
so it just doesn't dry.
As long as it doesn't all come in 5 seconds.
Right, yeah, that's what we were saying. You get all your rain in one burst anymore, it's just.
Two minutes, a minute and a half.
Oh, upstairs.
Yeah, that goes back, so that'll be on.
The doors, that's all. Okay.
It's 10 o'clock on the 10th day of the 10th month. Ready, Roger?
Tyler,
I'm up.
you're up.
All right, good morning again, all. Here to discuss the consideration of award for the Drainage District number 60 Sub 4 Main Tile Improvement Project. A week ago, there were 10 bids received on the project. The original alternates for this job for consideration and for bid were the 1/2 inch drainage coefficient, which was alternate 1, and the 3/4 inch drainage coefficient, which was alternate 2. And those original alternates were the consideration of reinforced concrete pipe. There was a desire from landowners and discussions with supervisors about the potential of seeing plastic prices as well for those alternates. There was an addendum that made an allowance for those bids of those sizes for a HDPE, a black plastic dual wall pipe. Those are then the 1/2 inch and 3/4 inch alternates 3 and 4 respectively. The lows on the different alternates, we have them laid out in the bid summary that I hope got around to everyone. They are shown on this in order of load on alternate 1, just because it was alternate 1. And that was how we had that. The engineer's estimate on alternate 1 and 3 was $3,390,000, and alternates 2 and 4 was $4,050,000. The lows on the concrete alternates 1 and 2, was Rognus Brothers Excavating Inc. out of Lake Mills for amounts of $2,252,666.50 for the 1/2 inch coefficient. The 3/4 inch for concrete, the low was Rognus Brothers Excavating with $2,678,776. The low on alternates 3 and 4, the dual wall plastic pipe, was Reitzel Excavating Inc. out of Burt, Iowa. The 1/2 inch was $1,888,113, and the alternate low on alternate 4, 3/4 inch, was $2,342,243. Now, for clarification's sake, for everyone and for the recording's sake, only one of those alternates would be selected as part of the project moving forward. And these have all of the road crossings and divisions in them as they were laid out. I know there was a little confusion at the bid opening where some contractors didn't have all of those added together. That is all in here, and attached to this is the bid tabulation that has all of the line item prices as well. Ultimately, these are great bids from 10 very good, qualified, competent, responsive and responsible bidders. Happy to have worked with anyone on that. For just a bit of additional consideration that I would like to state for the black dual wall options was that because this was an addendum and then issued midway through the bidding process, the project was not originally designed for it, which isn't an insurmountable problem. It's just there are things that weren't anticipated at the time, like for instance when we gave our inspection quotes in the engineer's report, the original engineer's report. There would likely, because of the installation, more stringent installation requirements of the plastic, the inspection from the engineer would be higher. What exactly that number pans out to, I'm not sure, I couldn't tell you exactly, but it would be higher than what is in the original report. Additionally, because the project wasn't originally designed for that, is the access for televising. The addendum that was issued had it clear that the plastic would need to be televised post its installation. For the televising, those runs can only be 800 to 1,000 feet. This is close to 30,000 feet, so to get that all televised at the end would require additional access points, something like manhole bases or large enough intakes that we'd be able to get that camera rig in and televise it. And as far as in my opinion, considering that is that would be in addition to the project costs. That would be something that the contractors would be entitled to, as if the project had been designed with plastic in mind, we would have included that and contractors would have had the opportunity to put numbers in or incorporate that into their bid. So those are some additional considerations on the plastic option, but as far as a preference or a recommendation, I recommend that unless there's landowners or Doug, for your consideration for the road crossings or how that plays into anything, my recommendation would be to go with the 3/4 inch based on the prices that were bid on this job. As far as material, that if there's, again, unless there's any preference from landowners or desire from the board, we will make sure whatever is selected is completed appropriately, correctly, and to project specifications. So that is any questions?
You have $330,000 difference between the plastic and the cement, and you're saying you have, how many dollars do you estimate would take to camera and put in additional manholes?
The cameraing is incidental to the installation. That should be worked into everyone's prices. That was
one time.
Once, yes. Additional intakes and installation there, you're not gonna be, it won't wipe out that $300,000 difference. I would imagine a very conservative, you could probably get all of that done for $50,000. For intakes, large scale intakes. I mean, some of those manhole bases can be,
some of them would need to be big.
yeah, and those can be rather expensive.
Yeah.
So now as far as inspection, I think from what, especially just on those larger sizes, my recommendation would be to go to a full-time inspection. Widths are important, rock bedding is very important. So that could change from having one of our inspectors up there for a couple hours, a couple times a week, to somebody there essentially as long as they're putting pipe in, as many days a week as that's going on. So that could really increase in your inspection costs, but again, I don't think you wipe out the full 330.
I didn't even think it'd be 50.
Well, and that I'm thinking is just the installation portion.
Right.
Inspection would be then more on top of that, so.
I guess when we bid projects, if we don't take the cheapest bid, we're usually in trouble.
And because of the material prices, there is the ability for consideration, and the notice, description, specs laid that out, that it would be based on prices and material types, and any combination in the best interest of the district could be selected.
That was in your bid proposal?
That is in the
I did.
bids. So there's, and this is not me tipping my hand one way or the other, just letting everybody know for a proper consideration how the options went, so.
Yeah.
Is there,
Yeah.
I got a question. Where are these manholes at? How are they determined?
it would be,
Are they gonna be on the crop acres?
Yeah, they
would
could be, they could be
They would
anywhere,
need to be spaced between essentially every 800 and 1,000 feet. That it wouldn't necessarily mean that they would need to be open access to the field at all times. They could have stubs and be capped and closed off on top if you didn't need or want an intake or anything in that location. They would just need to be there for the access for cameraing at least the one time.
they would be accessed for inspection primarily, they could be capped below the soil surface.
So it's not
But
something that you
but
need
they
to-
could be anywhere along the pipe every 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet.
Okay, so you put plastic in and it settles. What do you do?
Well, then that's the specification that was used and called out for this is to have a full rock envelope to, I'm not gonna say completely eliminate settlement, but to reduce it and minimize that settlement as much as possible. The videoing afterwards is a requirement for the effects of any settlement, as well as any deformation that the pipe suffers from loading above it. There's a percentage that the pipe can deform to that's capped, else it is replaced at no additional cost to the project. The segments that have deformed out of compliance are replaced. And
Is this 20 years from now? Is this 30 years from now? Is this 50 years from now?
that's maybe a better question for your,
Because this is a
Pipe reps.
long-term thing, this is gonna be a generational thing.
I agree, it's a very important decision for that reason exactly. This is probably the last time it's gonna be, the last time anyone here is going to have to hopefully worry about
Hopefully.
ever doing anything and ever touching it again. So that's,
Grandson might.
well, right, and we wanna make sure that it stays until then as well. Any decisions we make here, we wanna make sure they're solid and it's long lasting. So as far as the longevity of the system, in my opinion, it's one of the materials is more tested than the other for longevity, just because one has existed a lot longer than the other.
I'll interject as far as, I'm with ADS, manufacturer of plastic pipe. We have 100-year service life, it should last longer than that. Why do you think they have recycling plants all over the country? Because plastic don't break down. If the concerns are about the plastic performing, thus is why he specified rock backfill, which is above and beyond what we would even recommend for this type of project, but we're okay with that. And even with the rock backfill and the televising, we're, depending on the alternate, 360,000 or 336,000 less than the concrete. I will add, farmers know about compaction. You're gonna have 3 times the amount of truckloads going in and out of there delivering concrete pipe. Plastic's gonna be a third of that, which will greatly reduce compactions in all those deals.
How about all the rock that's going in?
That does factor into it as well, yeah.
Yeah, and it's so, like, the way he specified it, this Rex with Prinsco, it's exactly like they do in the commercial world, like, that we put under all the truck stops. I mean, you get off of private, you know, it's pretty much 100% HDP airports, yeah, it's 100-year design service life, several DOTs have certified that.
How many farms?
With the way he spec'd the installation. Now, sometimes plastic gets a bad name because some contractors will spoon it in and put no rock. And that's where you'll have, you know, you really hurt your surface life with plastic if you do that.
So when you do this, do you check all the soil types so you know how much rock you need to put in each certain soil type that you're going through?
Yes, well, the way, how deep this one is, I mean, it could be pretty much mush with rock, you know, a foot on each side, it would still be full.
What's the
Because it's not.
smallest factor you have on top of a tile as far as cover?
As far as cover, the smallest I think is, it's right between 2.5 and 3 foot. There's no place that's less than that.
So your opinion, does plastic stand up with 2 feet of cover as well as cement or not?
I am more comfortable, oddly enough, I'm more comfortable with it in a shallower situation than I am in overly deep cuts. That
Wow.
earth load can be a lot. As far as my experience, I haven't seen a lot of let's say failures due to farming practices on that, but I will also say that my experience with it is not what my experience, the amount of projects I've done with concrete versus the amount with plastic. So as far as that's concerned, I don't have a lot of anecdotes or anything along those lines.
I guess I would share, the landowner feedback I've received so far has been pretty strong for 3/4 concrete. And I guess with the landowners being the ones that are responsible for paying the bill, if they want the option that does cost a little over $300,000 more, I guess I kinda look at that as purchasing a tractor. I mean, we buy different brands of tractors, some are more expensive, some are less expensive, but you make that as a judgment call based on your operation and what suits your needs. Knowing the soil conditions up in that area for a similar project, not very far away, I think soils could be an issue here. We won't know till it's dug up, but with the landowner feedback, I think the 3/4 inch in concrete is the direction we should go with landowner feedback.
I have a little bit more information as far as the plastic side of things go as well. There's several kind of oddball sizes throughout this project that concrete makes and plastic does not. So in the 1/2 inch coat or 1/2 inch option, there's 3 sizes, I think 54. So what are the 3 sizes?
Yeah, 60, we're upsizing 54 to 60, we're upsizing 33 to 36, we're upsizing 21 to 24 inch.
So with either one of those, the 3/4 or 1/2 inch option, we're actually upsizing to give essentially better capacity for roughly 8,000 feet. So that on top of being lower, we also are increasing our capacity as well.
And as far as soils, you brought up soils, I mean, our pipe's gonna be in a rock envelope, so soils is not part of it. I guess if it is horrible soils, concrete has the same issues. They're gonna have to bring in rock.
Was it
They're
specified?
gonna have to stabilize the trench if they run into poor soils. So
Was it
concrete's
specified
no
with,
different.
with an O-ring gasket, or is it just, is there an O-ring gasket, or is it just plain in?
It's just, they're not gasket, it wouldn't be
So,
gasket.
so if you have fine soils, I just did an ag main down in Hardin County, and that, it wasn't even 60 years old. It's cause it was open joint concrete, and it was really silty soils, whole thing was full.
I
So they
know,
replaced it with plastic because of that.
from my knowledge, most of the plastic, especially larger plastic that gets installed here, the gaskets don't stay in it for install, so, you know,
Well, it'd be televised, so we'll know.
you won't see the gaskets, they'd be covered up.
It would be a better joint. I mean, our recommendation is the gasket stay on.
And also,
Tyler mentioned somebody inspecting there, they're gonna watch that the gasket stay on.
Well, we put, 3/4 feet of, I don't remember which main it was, but, this happened probably 8 years ago. We upgraded a 1/4 inch coefficient to a 3/4 coefficient. We put cement in, and they put rock in underneath all the cement also, just to stabilize it.
Yep.
rock is not required on this project unless it needs it for stabilizing in different soils, correct, with concrete?
No, there is to get bid comparisons. We did not spec spoon installation for either. The concrete was its sixth the diameter, or there's an equation for how high up the pipe you go. That was the bedding type specified for the concrete. Cause they were the most comparable between the two pipe types, between getting a specification conforming concrete installation and a specification conforming plastic installation. Now, as far as any suboptimal soils underneath the pipes, those are per the approval of the engineer, there is foundation stone in the bid that accounts for that. It's a little bit larger stone and it is used as an actual foundation. Any of the other stone, of course, is all incidental to the installation of the pipe. So as far as suboptimal soil conditions, that is also accounted for in both options.
This 2.5 feet of cover, how far is that from, how long is that?
That is, there are a few lows that we either go through or skirt the edges of to get as much cover as we can. The most that we're in a shallow cover is about 400 feet.
Is that
Well,
on,
how far is it from the bottom?
is that on,
Oh, from the outlet.
Whose property is it in?
Yeah, that is, let's see.
that's on the top end or bottom?
It's on the top end, it's on the upstream end. It's stations, 313 to 317.
Who owns that ground?
113 to 117, and that's, Johnson, Richard E. Living Trust. The Richard Johnson Living Trust is the land that is on.
And also, he had a question earlier about where the inspection ports would be. Typically, on previous projects that we've done, you put them on a fence line or, not out in the middle of the field if at all possible. Or if they are in the middle of the field, we'll have to make it to where they're covered up.
I'm gonna do some elbows and bends too.
Yeah.
Split, which will absorb some more costs.
Right in the center of section 30, right?
Okay, so this is Kyle, so would he have that?
No, it rises again back into that field.
Okay. That's the only thing.
That's the worst. There's other spots that get to, right around 3 foot, but not for that length or, not for that length or that depth. The rest of it is all pretty well, 5 foot or more.
Good.
Throughout.
Because plastic is nothing new. I mean, we're acting like this is a brand new product that's never been out. It's been around 50 years, not as long as concrete, but, this job's very close to the Minnesota border. 95% of the projects in Minnesota, they're all plastic. They've all been televised, hundreds of thousands of feet. And some is 60-inch too. There was just a recent project, I think it was over by Worthington, but,
And they use sand.
and they use sand as a backfill rather than rock. So we're going above and beyond that.
Well, yeah, and actually, we had a conversation recently with drainage conversation with a project that goes into Minnesota, and they mentioned they use plastic for pretty much everything. But they also said they've seen some, it's very critical for installation or correct installation. They've seen some that's perfect, they've also seen some that's not perfect.
That
So-
happens with concrete too.
Yeah.
But, and that's why we're televising it.
Yep.
So what's the biggest tile on this project?
60.
60?
Yes, and that, as Tad had mentioned, because of sizes that are available in concrete that aren't in, plastic, everything then in plastic that isn't in that size gets stepped up. So either of the options, either the 1/2 inch or the 3/4 of plastic is a 60-inch pipe, because there isn't a 54 that's made for, essentially the size that's called out on alternate 3.
Tyler, what do you estimate that the additional, size increase would increase for capacity for each size?
It wouldn't make as large a difference on, the 3/4 inch, because the downstream 60-inch pipe is already what that size should be. And so that would be your limiting factor, for the project. The 1/2 inch, essentially, sections of that go from 1/2 inch to 3/4, just because that's the next size that plastic is made in.
And primarily the bottom end of it as well.
Right, yes, yep. So the 1/2 inch changes considerably. The 3/4 is already, because the 60 is made and the 60 was the largest size at the bottom, that does, you carry your 60 for longer, so you get a higher capacity further up, but you still have the capacity, you would still essentially be more or less capped at the 3/4 because of your outlet. And then that certainly holds true once you get to, any one of the road crossings, because those all hold, there weren't, plastic alternates for those, so those are all still concrete in those sizes. One of them is steel casing that's getting pushed, and there's, I don't think, a justification to upsize those, because the plastics, that would be even more, project dollars to chase a coefficient that at your downstream end is still capped. So, through those road crossings, that there is then again where you hold, in both options, your road crossings would still be 3/4 for alternate 4 and 1/2 inch for alternate 3. But you are right, segments through there would get larger and have a bit better coefficient.
Is there a difference in the flow factor on cement or plastic?
That is all dependent on correct installation and proper installation. I would say, straight up, just if you're measuring just 1-to-1, plastic probably comes out smoother than your original, just because it's a smoother liner inside than what a concrete pipe would be. However, if you get deformation, which again is why we televise, or if the ends are, when they're pushed together, if you get any sort of accordion action, you can push those corrugations through the interior lining, and then you get more of a wavy corrugation effect. Being televised, and we would know.
Would that be something that would be out of specs, or what do you have those numbers?
Depending on the percentage of deformation, which I believe is
7%.
right, up to 7%. So
And that-
they're,
Sorry.
oh, no, go ahead.
And that 5 to 7, you say, oh, wow, that's not good. No, it is good. It's actually transferring the weight of that soil to the rock backfill. And if it's rock backfill, I'd be surprised if there's any that would be in that range, but if it is, that's not like the pipe's failing. That's what a pipe's meant to do. It's a flexible pipe. And it's transferring the loads to that rock backfill. So that should be. No.
I do have a question for you guys here. I've heard from some other projects that there's been issues with companies standing behind warranty for plastic pipes. I don't know what company that is, but what would you guys require to stand behind your warranty? Like, do you guys need to be there to inspect it while it's being installed? Do you need the engineer to certify it? What are your conditions for warranty?
Generally, we will be on site. I'm not saying daily we're gonna be on site, but Reisel's done a lot of plastic pipe over tens of thousands of feet, so it's nothing new to them. But we will go out and inspect and visually see it. And we work with the customer as far as, I mean, like I mentioned, we're going above and beyond our specs, so I really have no concern. But if there was, we would work that with the customer.
Yeah, so the warranties are, it covers any defects too, so if there was like some bad plastic, that's supposed to be covered for the design life. Under our standard warranty on our website.
So 100 years?
If that's his design life. So any defects.
Is that
if
something
there's
you
actually a
specify,
defect in the
Tyler, or
pipe-
is that the company?
In my opinion, that's material dependent on what your design life is. The clay lasted 100 plus, so we wouldn't want to put anything in the ground that was gonna last any less than that. So as far as I'm concerned, it's 100 or even 150 year design life.
And what you'll usually find too is concrete pipe manufacturers, I know there's a lot, I don't know where it was coming from, but a lot of them don't even they won't warranty if there's any defects, period.
So
I mean, they'll probably stand behind it, but it's not in writing on their website.
one question I have is how close attention do you pay to the spoon on the excavator as it's installing, that it's the correct?
This isn't spooned.
This will all be rock.
Plastic would be flat.
We're going above and beyond the spoon and encasing it in rock.
So you're not going to have
There's no spoon.
There'd be no room for gap or that wiggle that gets at the bottoms. We've gone, we have, the attempt has been to get everything as apples to apples for comparison in product and eliminate any, aside from outside chance of anything going wrong.
So the cement would still be put in with a spoon on the bottom,
That's not currently how it is,
engineered,
well, not how it's specified in the contract and how it was bid.
so that would be a flat bottom.
With then rock again, yeah.
Not as much rock, just.
Not as much rock, no.
like, what is it, a sixth of the way up the pipe or
Right,
something?
yeah, it's 1/6 the diameter with some little, I don't have the factor memorized on it, but.
So just to be a little bit clear, you said if you went with plastic and you went with the half-inch coefficient, you're saying you're actually gonna be very close to a 3/4 inch coefficient?
Until,
If you upgraded the road crossings.
yes, until you got to the
You would
first
still
road
be
crossing.
restricted by the road
Well,
crossing.
why don't you go to use a 3/4 inch coefficient then, and the road crossings aren't changed then either? So you
Yeah,
still-
Yes,
They are different.
essentially you could go with the half-inch coefficient, upgrade the road crossings, and you would essentially be very close to a 3/4 coefficient through most of the project. At a much lower cost.
And I don't have what the actual numbers to achieve that would be.
I think we'd have to have a breakdown of each section if we were gonna look at it that detailed, but I don't think you can compare it
There's
quite that.
there's a lot in
black and
there
white.
that would make it,
500,000 in cost, so.
Yeah, but that's not a true comparison.
It wouldn't be completely apple, you couldn't compare the 3/4 concrete and the half-inch with upgrading the road crossings completely, but it would be very close.
So the comparison in pipe size of concrete to the upsized plastic, are they the same size or close to, what's?
that, well, the ones that aren't conventionally made would then be the same size. So as far as what runs were upgraded versus, what my fear is in doing that without doing quite a bit of re-engineering of it, is that you'd be going from 3/4 back down to a half-inch in some sections, and then back up to something that's closer to 3/4 because that size isn't available, and you could really be doing this throughout stretches of it. It would be my recommendation that if the 3/4 inch is desired, that we don't try to get there through the half-inch with upsizing and trying to make that work. Whereas if you went with the 3/4 inch, you're guaranteed it for the whole thing. No sort of field engineering
Except for
or.
the fact that we want to be upgrading the road crossings, so.
No, for the 3/4, they're sized appropriately for that through the whole system. You're not dealing with half-inch road crossings on 3/4 option.
Oh, so if you want the 3/4, the road crossings are gonna be changed out.
Correct,
Yeah,
yes.
plastic.
Those follow, on the 3/4 option, no matter what of the alternate. They would not on the half-inch.
Right, okay, gotcha.
So like on alternate 4, if it's HDPE, the 54 inch is going to 60 inch and it's 5,700 feet that we've upsized from 54 to 60 and about 1,500 feet upsizing the 27 to 30 inch.
But then you'd also have different areas of the project getting a different relative benefit in some form because the upper end wouldn't have 3/4, but the lower end.
Well, there'd
potentially
be slightly unused carrying capacity. So you'd have some storage availability,
Yeah,
but you just
you're-
wouldn't have the.
You're still dealing with the half-inch, but.
Well,
He's
that's
talking three.
that's even a 3/4. There are still sizes in that have to step up. So you do get additional storage capacity there. It just doesn't translate entirely into carrying capacity.
It doesn't really benefit. Other than what you're designed.
benefit.
Right, yes and no.
Okay. Why don't you make it complicated?
We have certainly done that.
Yeah.
So I guess as landowner, what's your opinion here?
Well, I don't know
You're
what
paying
the
a chunk of the
project is.
bill.
There's a project going on, east of us, northeast of us, how's that going? I'd like to know. And I
It's,
think Wrightsville's not doing it, aren't they?
No.
yeah. That was engineered a little different. There's been a lot of change orders for rock. There
That
has,
project
Poor
is
soil.
different though.
it is
Because
different.
it was
Yeah.
originally not, it was supposed, specified spooned in, and the manufacturer said, no, we need rock, correct?
No,
There wasn't
There's-
rock bedding.
it wasn't bid out the exact same way as this. It was engineered differently. So there is some differences there. It's, I mean, in all reality, like, I guess I've thought on this quite a bit in the last week. I've talked to Tyler several times. I think in some ways, like I said earlier, it goes back to which brand of tractor do you wanna buy? They each have their pros, they have their cons, price, strength, all those different factors are part of the equation. And it's, which are you more comfortable with?
Kyle, have you talked to other landowners?
I have not gotten anyone else besides Lewis.
The other thing too with plastic is the usability in the future. If you're tiling out your farm, connections are much easier with plastic. The depths are well below allowable depths with plastic, especially with this bedding type. I have 100% faith in plastic.
So you will be hooking up all the ones that you find?
Absolutely, yep. Either one, concrete or plastic, that we're required to hook in anything that we come across.
Well, your problem is you gave us no right or wrong answer here.
You are no slave to choice, however, you are no slave to choice, if that's,
And I think the fact that we do have these options on the table is a substantial reason we got as good a prices as we did.
I don't think you can go wrong.
Well, I mean, if you
And
look at the
that's-
bids, actually, the low three contractors for all options were below the engineer's estimate for half inch, so we got good prices.
Yeah, and again, I don't think you can go wrong with either option or either contractor or like my only recommendation, and then open it up for discussion, and we've had really good discussion, was with the prices and the economic viability of it, it makes a lot of sense to me to go to the 3/4. How you get there, beyond that, again, like you pointed out, Roger, there is no right and wrong answer.
We have two really good contractors, that even makes it even harder.
I would agree.
I mean, I can find no fault with any of it, is it my problem? Any suggestions from the board?
I'd go with the plastic.
Would that be a motion?
Yeah, sure, I'll make a motion, get it started.
I have a motion by Mr. Plath to go with the lowest bid. Would that be correct at the 3/4 inch coefficient? Would that be your motion?
For clarification, that's alternate 4, correct?
That would be alternate 4 at, yep. Do I have a second to Mr. Plath's motion?
I'll second.
Josh makes the second. Discussion. Other than what we've had already, is there any more discussion on the subject?
I guess, going into it, I expected substantially bigger margin between plastic and concrete. So with that being said, I think the concrete is probably the option I would lean towards with landowner feedback. I think that's important, so my recommendation would be alternate 2.
But we have a different motion
I
on
know,
the floor
this
right now.
discussion.
Okay,
And you,
any other discussion points?
you visited with several landowners then, or?
One family that owns quite a bit of ground on this project. And they were going to touch base with the other major landowner and let me know if anything changed, and I did not hear anything. So
But I just
I'm
like.
taking that
I like the idea that you're getting more bang for the buck, you're getting a bigger pipe, substantially bigger pipe. And
no, this would be the same coefficient for 2 and 4, alternate 2 and 4 are the same coefficient.
But we're upsizing.
But the plastic is gonna be bigger size than the concrete.
Not for 3/4.
On 2 sizes, yes.
Yeah, 5,700 feet, that was specified 54 would be 60 inch on alternate 4.
And then there's
And I like that aspect of it.
And another 1,500 of 27, that would be 30 inch.
on the 3/4 option.
Correct.
Bigger is better.
Do we have, and maybe it's a hard question, but in Kossuth County, any projects from 30, 40, 50 years ago that are plastic, and then how do they?
Definitely not, county projects,
Right.
private mains, I'm sure, yes, there's still operating.
I believe the only 2 projects that we have in this county that were county mains that had plastic was Train 75 by Big Six here a year or 2 ago, a couple years ago, Reitzel's did. And then 60 sub 1, which is complete, but we haven't had the completion hearing on that yet, but those are the only 2.
We did another one by, South of Lone Rock.
That was all plastic?
Yeah.
Okay, I know
36
75 had some concrete on it, didn't it?
The one that we did south of Lone Rock was solely plastic,
Okay,
and that was a fair sized project as well.
That's probably been 8 years ago.
Yeah,
was that the one that that we had to put,
Not just drain 39.
No.
riser pipes in on? Because it was so deep? Or is that something?
That was a different one. That was the other one over by Lone Rock. That was the one that went over to, I think of the guy's name when I don't need to. But it ended up at 15. Any other discussion? If not, I would call for a roll call vote, please.
Plath,
Yes.
Nath,
Yes.
Wactor,
Yes.
Stecker,
I'm gonna have to say no with landowner feedback.
Jerks,
I'll vote yes. Motion carried 4-1. Any other discussion? Tyler?
I'm good. We'll get, contract documents put together. Everything sent out. Thank you, everyone.
thank you guys.
Thank you.
When's the start date?
When do you wanna get them in? Obviously, we got.
Well, let's get the
contracts
contract
and-
signed and.
Contracts and-
Probably spring, yeah. Yeah, they gotta build pipe yet, I'm sure, so.
Yeah, no company's got 8,000 feet of 6 inch.
China?
Big
What's
man.
that? No, no,
Made in the USA.
it's gonna be made within 60 miles of here.
Eagle Grove, Fairmont,
Thanks.
Winona, Illinois, and
Thanks.
Harrisonville, Kansas. Yeah.
Rex.
Rex.
Yep.
Yeah, I catch your name.
thanks Tyler.
Thank you.
I'm Ted, right?
Thank you guys for coming in.
Thanks.
Bye.
Where do you make sure you look up all the stuff?
Oh, we will. If we don't, you'll know it, I guarantee you that. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hi.
Anything else, Marge, as far as drainage?
I'm going through to see what, requests are out there that haven't been signed or haven't been completed, so I'll let you know if I have any.
Yeah, I got 3 questions for you.
Okay.
And, anything else? If not, do I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Josh, you're good at that. Do I have a second? Carter?
Second.
All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're done.
Yay.
Turn the cameras on. Don't necessarily disagree with you, Mr. Stecker.
Let's just hope it doesn't bite us.